And it can become even bigger than the financial bottlenecks about which I've been battling over the last 4 or 5 decades. The fact of the matter is, we found that on an average day, almost half wouldn't be right, some schools half, taking an average, about 30% of the teachers were absent. If it's a single teacher school, that means you cannot the parent can't send children, especially girl children there, thinking that they will be well supervised. So I think there's a huge problem, and the student absenteeism is often connected with that. These all require reorganization. It requires an institutional change, with which I was mainly concerned in my talk in the Parliament. I was arguing that when I mentioned about left-wing politics, it requires a different role of the unions. Unfortunately, the attitude to unions tend to take too sharply divided form. There are those who would have none of it, less the better. A lot of my industrialist friends seem to take that view because they think that it's terrible. And the others are those who would defend the union no matter what, on grounds that the union movement is very important. It is very important, but it has to do its role. So what we try to do in PanIIT Trust is to invite in West Bengal, based in Calcutta, as a first attempt, the All Bengal Primary Teachers Association, which is the West Bengal, the main primary teachers association, with about 80% of the primary school teachers as members. It's a communist union. I suggested we work together, and they have actually. And I gave lectures to them about the importance of the union movement to be concerned not just with their membership, but with workers everywhere and their children, and with poor people everywhere. And I have to say, some of the early reports are very good. For example, the attendance in my district, Birbhum, you can get figures for the student attendance, but that to some extent reflects the accountability of the teachers. That has gone up from about 50% to 82% in the course. So I think there is something we can achieve. Some of my friends have told me when I was looking at my report of the Parliament saying, you're very naive. I think one of my friends, I think Gary Rao wrote in Mint, saying just because these people were very good to Amartya, he is deluded enough to believe that they are really good people and going to do all these good things. Well, I think they can be, depends on how we inspire them. But what we need is an understanding that what we are concerned with is achievement, realization, what's going to happen. There are issues there of technology too. The question of teacher absenteeism requires one way of dealing with it is various technological systems like clocking in, which don't look as oppressive as the simple card thing which blue-collar workers often do look. But there's the technological innovation question too. But more than that, it's the culture of technology and IIT that I'm talking about here, namely concentrate on achievement. And our reports on the public health workers were similar. But they vary tremendously. And when you look into this, you can see that there are some places where there is a culture of concentrating on achievement and other places there isn't. That's the thing that I would like to draw attention to. And I would say that I could have gone on a bit more, but I want to leave time for discussion. I would like to say that what we are looking at is not only an IIT training-based, skilled achievement, but also a culture which cannot stop short of achieving something. String theory cannot be our model, nor could economic modeling would be, since so many of the economic models seem to be so profoundly unconcerned with their applicability and realization. We have to be concerned exactly with realization. And I think if that sense has progressed in the corporate sector and the modern sector a lot, IIT has made a major contribution to that, the IIT culture, and PanIIT represents that. But I think there's a contribution to be made at a lower level, at the level of schools and primary health care. And I think with innovativeness, with intelligence, and sympathy and ultimately humanity, there is a lot that IIT students, former students, teachers, and people influenced by or trained by IIT culture can do. It's that culture of IIT to which I wanted to draw attention today. There are a few things I could have said, and maybe in the discussion time they may come up, but I see that time has moved on rather faster than I was hoping. But anyway, I'll stop here. Thank you very much.